Speaking of coaches, Sam, I've found them fascinating this year. They're always fascinating beast coaches. We know they're a different beast, cut from a different cloth, and it's always questions, does senior coaching, make them go mad, or are they a little bit fruity to start with and then they just keep going as well? Because you've got to have a certain personality type to take on being a senior coach, and they're very strong, and they've got a definite way they want the game to be played. I found them very interesting this year, more so than other years, whenever there's been a microphone, especially post-match, when the emotions are still running high. And speak to Damien Hardwick, and if you go through his back catalogue this year, it was the players, it was Darwin, it was the fixture,
umpires,
it was the media, it was umpires, now we give up. You go through Luke Beveridge, he gave War and Peace, which was quite fascinating. If you go back about six weeks, a whole state of the game address. Chris Scott always has something deep that he wants to get to as far as conversation with the microphone, and Ross Lyon was no different last night.
No, well, in fact, he might have taken it to a new level. You're right. I mean, Ross, make of this what you will, but if we could try to turn this into some form of English from our listeners, I'd love to know what this means.
Do you have a word to him about the taunting free that he gave away?
About the what?
The taunting free kick that he gave away?
No, I didn't, no. It's a bit like the missed shot, you've done it. And if I did that, I'd be an overbearing, berating coach, and then you guys would have me in the headlines, so I don't do that.
You appeared to chat to Anthony coming out at quarter time, and he had a rough night. How did you see his night, and how do you try and get him more involved out of the ball?
What did I talk to him about quarter time? I was just about coming up, getting involved in the game more when we're under pressure. So I know you said he had a rough night.
Well, I think he touched the ball twice.
Yeah, well, that's a rough night. If they can reconcile that with writing a story and generating and filling their space, well, that's the current world we live in.
It's top. Sorry, Pete.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of that report? Huh? What do you guys think of that? Hey? That's the world we live in.
It's a game within a game for Ross, isn't it? He always loves to, well, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that Harry Houdini made famous a long, long time ago, and that's misdirection. And the Saints are struggling. They're 8-10. If results go against them for the rest of the weekend, they could be 13th by the time we get to Monday. So that would be a bad result for Ross Lyon and his Saints, particularly after all the money that they've spent, all the players that they've gone after. It is misdirection. But these press conferences, I'm with you, Jimmy, have turned into a point of fascination for both media and sets of fans this year. But sometimes, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone, sometimes when you're in them, you can get lost as a journo. And maybe we don't hold these coaches to enough of an account, Lloydie. Like, if you think about all the struggles the Saints have had this year, there's probably a lot of things in that notepad in front of you. Why aren't we asking this? Why are you struggling with this? Why can't you get this under control?
Yeah, and it's a really difficult task for journalists to saddle up to. Guys, it's quite intimidating to saddle up to there, and you've got to become very well prepared. And
you do. And,
I suppose for St Kilda out of last night is, I've heard Lee Matthews talk about trying to break through the top four, top six, and then top four, and then top two. And St Kilda, I'd want to ask Ross, hey, what is holding you back right now from breaking through from no man's land, where we had dreams and hopes at the start of this year that could be different? It hasn't been. I look at the development of, say, for example, a Polkinghorne that comes in last night, or a Dempsey at pick 40. But I look at some of St Kilda's players at Philippou or Travaglia or Taru, or might be whoever else that St Kilda haven't quite been able to improve enough to make that jump, apart from Nasiah. So there's been a few others at St Kilda as well. But there's some of the things that you want to get to the answer from, rather than a coach dancing around with you.
What do you want to ask your coach or a coach if you were to walk into a presser? So you're doing our role, or as we heard, Mitch Cleary, and it was Pete Ryan over the two Cleary voices.
Two great journos.
Who do a good job of following up their questions as well. And what do you want to ask of coaches? What are you expecting, or what do you want to hear from coaches? We'd love to hear from you.
Do you know what, Jimmy? That's a great question, because, and you guys would know this from people when you run into people who just want to talk footy with you. Every set of fans know their club better than they think the media does, which is probably right. Every set of fans would watch their coaches' press conferences. whether you win or lose. And it's so accessible now on the AFL app. You can just get 2 clicks of the button and you can watch it on your phone. It's not like it was 15 years ago. We had to record something on Foxtel IQ or we had to find something on YouTube. Like, it's very accessible. So what is the thing that we're not asking about your team? Like, I haven't seen a lot of Adam Uze Richmond press conferences, but the thing I'd be fascinated in asking, Lloyd, is I understand that you guys have got so many injuries. We get X, Y, and Z, but why do you guys start so many games with such a lack of effort? You know, there's no tackling pressure. There doesn't seem to be application intent.
And the one I'd love to know is Damien Hardwick, if he could be truly honest, is the culture piece. So why is it at the Gold Coast Suns, and what is it about the culture that you haven't been able to change, or why every time it?
Yeah, how's this different from your Richmond experience? So, like, paint the lens for us. Like, you were able to get it into Richmond. What's stopping you from getting it into the Gold Coast? Because, we know the talent's there. You had talent at Richmond as well that, took you to all that success. We have a regular caller on Sports Today. He's a Peter. I know there's lots of Peters that call up 3AW, but he's always at the likes of myself and other people who join the show of, why don't you challenge Chris Scott more? It's like, well, history says that they tend to right the ship, so they've got brownie points in the bank.
Yeah, they've got credits.
They've got credits in the bank. And Sharon's been waiting patiently. Good evening, Sharon.
Hi. My question would be to Chris Scott, who I think is amazing, but I would ask Chris Scott, how has Nathan Buckley actually helped the Geelong Football Club since he's been there?
That's a good question.
So it sounds like a loaded question, Sharon. So you don't think he has?
Yeah, defensive line, which is what he's doing, hasn't been great. I think, obviously, Chris Scott has nurtured a lot of coaches throughout the years, but I feel that Nathan Buckley is getting a lot of Chris's knowledge and personal skills, but I'm not quite sure what Nathan Buckley has given back to Geelong.
Well, Sharon, we don't know that. Only those internally will know that. But I think Nathan's gone in there. Yeah, no doubt Nathan wants to be a coach at AFL level, but Nathan's a type that will give absolutely everything to who he's employed to. He's nothing but the absolute professional. And I actually feel for Nathan, to be honest, because how many other backline coaches could we name in the competition? I just think the scrutiny, because of who he is and where he's been, has been really, really unfair, in my opinion, that he would be giving his heart and soul to Geelong to do the best he can do, but he's being scrutinised within an inch of his life.
Yeah, at the same time that he's pretty publicly going for a job that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah,
so there's a lot going on.
But
for
he
him.
wouldn't be short-changing Geelong whatsoever in the process.
No, not at all. Yeah. I mean, the interesting part about Nathan going to Geelong is that when they went into it, like, it's mutually beneficial for both parties, isn't it? Because Geelong handpicked him to think, well, you need some help getting back into senior coaching. We've got some IP that we could share with you. And along the way, you were a kick away from a flag yourself.
Yeah, we get a former AFL senior coach.
We get a former AFL senior coach that's, extremely well respected across the industry. So it's, it's, as I said, mutually beneficial. We'll use you and you use us.
Yep.
And, if he doesn't end up getting the Tasmania job for whatever reason, it'd be interesting to see if he stays there.
Peter is up next. Good evening, Peter.
G'day, guys. Firstly, I want to qualify by saying I'm not the Peter.
You're not the Peter. I know the other Peter's voice.
Different Peter.
But, yeah, just want to be clear there. I'm waiting for that guy to come on. I want to hear it. I have a two-part question for Dimmer Hardwick. My first one is, given that you were cooking sausages at Richmond, Dimmer, what cheap meats are you preparing at Gold Coast Suns? And B, given the preparation is not quite working, are you considering changing cookbooks?
Very well put, Peter. He's finding it difficult at the moment, Lloyd, to get that cut through and not to make it sound too simplistic, but when good sides get it. And you're part of an absolute thumping side there for the Essendon Football Club, where what you're doing on the forward line impacts the mids impact the backs impact the mids, and where it all sort of connects. And it almost becomes without thought. Then there's also a feeling, well, if I don't execute my role properly, how does that impact Scotty Lucas? How does that impact Jason Johnson? How does it, and you go through the Dustin Fletcher. So, and at my time at Geelong, like, if I don't put enough pressure on, well, then the forwards can't get up, like Steve Johnson and all those sort of guys. So Damien Hardwick would be saying, well, how do I get through to these blokes? Talent alone just doesn't win you enough AFL games.
Yeah, it's been bizarre, I think, this season. I love and respect. I've met Noah Anderson and Matthew Rowell and Ben King, and they are all just as professional and as quality of people as you could meet.
Driven.
Yeah, so they've got. It's not as if they haven't got core senior players. They're not young, these guys now. They've been around a fair while, so they've got some really good people leading the way along with Damien Hardwick, so I cannot believe that this group could lose 7 in a row.
Do you both buy into the theory at all that they've lost too many role players and brought in Petrarca?
I think it's more the way they're playing more necessarily than the actual personnel.
Right.
Has Petrarca helped the Gold Coast Suns this year?
At times he has. But it also doesn't help the fact that the style of footy they're playing, which at the moment, which suits Petrarca, is actually hurting them just as much. And I'm not just pinning that on him. He plays that very forward attacking style footy where let's get proactive before we actually take care of the contest.
You know what I'd love to ask Craig McRae if I was at his presser?
Please.
Where are we going to be in 2 years' time? Because I just think
that's 3 in a row. That's 3 in a row.
Because I just think that they're all in it for the now. And I just wonder if Craig McRae deep down thinks I am in, and it's just and we're in for the now. While we've got Pendles and while we've got Sidebottom, while we've got these guys, and we're going to go Lockie Neal, and we'll try and get say even a Mitch Lewis, and that'll just keep us going. We'll try and maybe get a few kids along the way and just try and stay up. But I just wonder if he thinks it deep down. He's not going to say that, obviously, that at some stage it's going to all come crashing down. So it's even like the decisions of when to let go of these champions. You don't want them all to go next. So they have to make some hard calls now. So then in 12 months' time, they're all not going at the same time. So Howe, Pendlebury, Sidebottom, more Jamie Elliott.
Yep.
You can't have too many going at the same. McStay, Membry, there's too many of them. So I'm really interested. And then you bring in Lockie Neal, and in a few years he's going as well. I'm really interested in where they are heading as a club.
That's a great question.